everything that you keep praying for and everything that you keep asking God for and everything that you keep saying that you want is literally sitting on the other side of the very thing that you keep putting off. I know it's painful. And how do I know? Because I've lived this. And not only that, I've seen many people in my life live this and are currently living this. And the crazy thing is we have this habit of making our dreams like super spiritual, but then when it comes to our discipline, it's completely optional. And we'll say, hey God, open this door, but we don't even have the faith to walk up to the door. And we'll say, God, heal my body, but we won't do the daily things that we know we're already supposed to do to keep our body in check. We'll say, God, give me some clarity, but we keep drowning out his voice with distraction. And I'm not saying this to shame any of you, because shame never builds anything. Shame just keeps you in hiding. I'm saying this because there comes a moment where you have to tell the truth. And that truth is, most of the time what we call overwhelm is actually just avoidance dressed up in a really nice outfit. Because if we admit that we're avoiding something, then that means we have to admit that we're scared. And that's either scared to fail, scared to be seen, scared to do it and it not work, scared to do it and then it work, because then who do you become? And sometimes the reason that you keep putting it off is not because you don't have time, it's because you don't want to face what's on the other side of that decision. Because on the other side of your procrastination is responsibility. And that's the part that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants the blessing, but not everybody wants the burden that comes along with it. And everybody wants the body that feels strong, but nobody wants to get up at 5, 6 a.m., head to the gym and be consistent with that to keep the body that you want. Everybody wants peace, but nobody wants to be obedient. And everybody wants purpose, but not everybody wants the pruning, because it is painful. And listen, this is not you being bad, this is you being human. But if you stay human-led, you will also stay comfort-led, and I will tell you that comfort is the most expensive drug on this earth, because it will cost you everything that you want. Comfort will have you scrolling instead of building. It will have you snacking instead of healing. It will have you numbing instead of dealing. And comfort will have you talking about it instead of actually doing it. And if you keep letting comfort call the shots, you're going to keep having this same year over and over, just the numbers on the calendars change. So let's talk about what you're really putting off. For some of you, it's your health. You already know the first step, and it's not 10 steps, it's 1. Start drinking water. Get sleep at night. Remove the things in your life that you know have been harming you. It's all about getting back to the basics. And it's about being consistent with what God has already showed you. But you keep waiting for motivation, like motivation's your savior. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a covenant. A covenant is what changes your life. For some of you, it's your business. You keep saying you want to be seen, but you won't post. You keep saying you want to help people, but you won't speak up. You keep saying you want customers, but you won't make an offer. And then you tell yourself a story like, oh, I'm not ready. I gotta wait for the perfect time. But let me tell you something with love. You don't get ready by waiting. You get ready by moving. Readiness is built through obedience. There is a version of you that exists on the other side of the thing you keep delaying. And I need you to understand something. Delay is not neutral. Delay is a decision. And really, delay is just you choosing the discomfort of staying the same over the discomfort of growth. And growth will always feel like pressure at first, because it's literally you expanding. It's you pushing you outside of your own box and limits. So here's the question. What's the one thing that you keep putting off? Because I promise you, if you trace it back far enough, it's probably the doorway. It's the doorway to the peace that you want, the confidence you want, the stability you want, the health you want, the momentum you want, the relationships you want, the money you want, the freedom you want. But here's what most people do. They just stare at the doorway and they wait for that fear to leave. But the fear will never leave. Do you understand that the only difference between me and you is I'm just doing it? You don't think that I struggle with the same fear every time I go to make a video? Oh, most absolutely I do. And sometimes there will be times where I'll go weeks without making one, because I'll listen to that fear and I won't let it get out of my way. I'm here telling you today that I am you, or I was you. And some days I still struggle with the pressure of it all. But that's what makes us human, that's what pushes us, and that's what pushes us out of our comfort zone. And that's how we grow. And here's what most people do. They just stare at the doorway and then they wait for that fear to leave. Fear doesn't leave first. You move first. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is obedience while fear is screaming. And faith is not just believing God can. Faith is moving like He already told you yes. Let me give you something practical, because I'm not here to hype you up and leave you with nothing. I have this thing called the other side rule, or just do it anyway rule, where whatever you keep avoiding, just set a timer for 10 minutes and touch it. I'm not saying finish it. I'm just saying touch it. 10 minutes to write the posts, 10 minutes to clean up your nutrition, 10 minutes to drink water and take your supplements, 10 minutes to send that email, 10 minutes to make that phone call, just 10 minutes. Even if you start to record a video and you get 10 minutes in, that's okay, because avoidance breaks when motion starts. And here's the secret. The first 10 minutes is actually the hardest part. Once you get into that swing, something shifts, your mind shifts, your body starts to calm down, and your body stops resisting, and your spirit, it wakes up, and you start remembering who you actually are. Listen to me closely. You don't need to do everything. You need to do the next right thing, because next is where momentum lives, and momentum is what builds confidence, not your feelings. So if you're waiting to feel confident, you're going to be waiting forever. I'll tell you that. Confidence is a byproduct of keeping your promises to yourself. And every time you do the thing that you said you were going to do, you build integrity. And integrity is power. And everyone who knows me, that's like one of my core values. Integrity. And that's why some people look like they have so much discipline. It's not that they never struggle, it's that they've trained themselves to stop negotiating with what God has already told them. Because that's what procrastination is most of the time. You're negotiating with your own assignment. I'm going to say that again. Procrastination is you negotiating with your very own assignment. And you don't have time for that anymore. Well, not if you actually want what you say you want. So today I want you to do something. I want you to name the thing that you've been avoiding. Say it out loud. Write it down. Have a party. And then ask yourself this. What would my life look like in 90 days if I stopped delaying this? And then ask the second question. What will my life look like in 90 days if I keep doing what I'm doing and I keep delaying it? Because I promise you that second answer will sober you up quicker than quick. Now I'll close with this. God is not asking you to be perfect. He's just asking you to be willing. And He's asking you to take a step. Because the miracle is not just in the result. The miracle is in who you become on the way there. And everything that you want is on the other side of what you keep putting off. So don't make it complicated. Pick one thing. Set a timer. Do the next right step. And let God meet you in your movement. Because He can't steer a parked car, my friend.